Welcome to this topic. This is about cultivation of medicinal plants, then classification of medicinal plants. In this topic, we learn about how we cultivate medicinal plants and reasons why we cultivate medicinal plants. Imagine you have your plant species that is medicinal, but it is in the wild. If it is in the wild, it means that it's not locally available anytime you want to process that drug. So because of that reason, there is importance for us to cultivate our medicinal plants. We cultivate medicinal plants in areas like herbal gardens. You find somebody has a garden around the home, but basically is planting their drugs. We can cultivate medicinal plants in botanical gardens, where we can now conserve our drugs. We can also cultivate within the wild. So we shall talk about this in details. Look at how would we cultivate. We can either decide to cultivate in situ, that's basically the wild, or ex situ, where plants don't grow. Then we can talk about more factors that we can consider when we are cultivating these medicinal plants. We have issues like soil factor in terms of fertility. We can also consider the climate in terms of rainfall. We can also consider things like altitude, humidity, because each plant has its specific growth parameter that it requires. We can also consider about things like weeds, pests, and diseases. We shall talk about this in details. Then we shall also talk about the techniques for cultivating medicinal plants, and basically how to be techniques for cultivating medicinal plants, with one being mutation. You can cultivate medicinal plants through mutations. An example, induced mutations, whereby you can use a chemical to induce growth. When you induce growth, you are targeting increase in the morphology of that particular plant. Take an example of cobalt 60, whereby we use cobalt 60 to induce the growth of the leaves. We get now leaves that have more active ingredient, which is morphine. The other technique is through what we call as polyploids. Polyploids is also another technique, whereby we look at change in the number of genes and then the cells, and that also gives us better results. Then the other technique of cultivation is hybridization, whereby we come up with hybrids. Look at an example of watermelon, which is seedless. It is hybrid. Then we shall conclude about how we classify medicinal plants. We classify medicinal plants basically in 4 ways. This one would be, if you are basically dealing with medicinal plants, you can classify them based on usage, based on lifespan, the chemical ingredient, and that in details. We shall conclude this topic with classifying natural drugs. We classify natural drugs in 7 ways. One being morphological, depending on the morphology. Then 2, depending on alphabetical classification, in ways you can either depend on using the English name, Latin name, or local name. Then the other way we can classify natural drugs is chemical, depending on the active ingredient. Then the other way we can classify is pharmacological classification, based on the therapeutic role of the medicinal plant or the natural drug. Then we have taxonomic, depending on the families, and it's mostly restricted to plants. Then whereby we look at the families, genus, and species of those particular plants, whereby we group those plants that are in the same family in the same group. Then the other way we can classify natural drugs is basically through cell taxonomy or chemotaxonomy. Let us dig this into details.